Rivalry. It may seem contradictory, but in some cases, it's actually good for business. Hi, I'm Neil Sesby, and you may recognize me from Management 799, Strategic Management. I'm here today to talk to you about a corporate rivalry of historic proportions, one that has been playing out in soda shops, supermarkets, vending machines, and in your living room for over 100 years. It's time to talk about the Cola Wars.
Da 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 da. The joy of cola. Da 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 da. Pepsi Cola. Jump in, just enjoy the ride. But take your time. The world goes round and round. But some things never change.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juan, and today I'm going to talk about the carbonate soft drink industry and try to explain why the economics of the concentrate business profitability is different from the bottling business. The carbonate soft drink industry pulls in $66 billion of annual revenue with an average annual growth revenue around 10% from 1970s to the mid-90s. In 2011, the average American purchased around 146 gallons of carbonate soft drinks, or CSDs, per year. More recently, revenue growth and consumption has been decreasing, something that is alarming the place of this market. The major participants in the industry are concentrate producers, bottlers, retailers, and suppliers. The concentrate producers produce the magic formula, the formula that makes the classic cola flavor, and also conduct market research to create sophisticated marketing and promotional programs.
Hey, come here. I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm going to tell you. We both know I ordered a Pepsi Cola, and now you've insulted me and my entire family by offering me this, whatever it is. For being a civilized person, I'd like to give you a chance to make amends. Capisce?
These concentrate producers control the procurement of the main supplies of the bottlers, not only for prices, but to also ensure high-quality products and ensure fast delivery. The concentrate producers' capital investment is low compared to the bottlers, with huge margins. In 2004, the pre-tax profit of a case was around 30% of the sales. The two main players, with almost 75% of the market, are not surprisingly Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola. The bottlers are the ones in charge of making the product, mixing the secret formula with high fructose corn syrup and carbonate water. Their key role is the distribution of the product. Bottlers manage the entire supply chain from production down to the customers. Unlike the concentrate producers, the bottling process is capital intensive and involves high-speed production lines that are interchangeable only for similar type of packaged products. In 2004, the pre-tax profit of a case of cola was around 9% of the sales. Huge difference. Coke and Pepsi approached the strategy of their master bottler contracts differently. Coke's contract grants perpetuity rights in an exclusive geographic region and determines the concentrate price and other terms of the sale. Pepsi master bottler contract also offers perpetuity agreements with a difference that bottlers need to purchase raw material at prices and terms determined by Pepsi. Both of the agreements allowed bottlers to handle the non-cola brands of other concentrate producers. This to help them increase their returns. The retail channel is very important to the cola companies, with supermarkets and fountain outlets accounting for almost 56% of the market. Through history, Coke has dominated in fountain sales, while Pepsi has focused on the retail outlets. Nevertheless, Pepsi started to diversify and acquire Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC to compete with Coke's deal with Burger King and McDonald's in the fountain sales channel. The basic arrangement between concentrate producers, bottlers, and retailers has been in existence for basically as long as the industry has existed. To understand how the cola wars really began, we have to go all the way back to the very beginning.
Coca-Cola was formulated in 1886 in Atlanta, Georgia, as a medicinal potion. It was sold to Asa Candler in 1891. He believed the future of the drink lied in fountain sales, but he also established bottling franchises which grew quickly. He created the Coca-Cola brand with a full sales force and advertising campaigns. When Robert Woodruff took over the company in 1919, he initiated lifestyle ads for Coke, emphasizing putting the beverage in arm's reach of desire. He pushed the company to become global during World War II by ensuring soldiers worldwide would be able to get a Coke for only 5 cents.
At home, at work, or on the way, there's nothing like a Coca-Cola, nothing like a Coke.
Pepsi, on the other hand, was invented in North Carolina in 1893. They too adopted a bottling franchise with independent bottlers. But Pepsi had a tough financial history, declaring bankruptcy several times early in the 20th century. To try to claim market share, Pepsi lowered its prices during the Great Depression with the slogan,
Pepsi Cola hits the spot, 12 full ounces, that's a lot. Twice as much for a nickel too. Pepsi Cola is the drink for you.
Other brands such as Royal Crown and Dr. Pepper could not compete with the top brands Coke and Pepsi. They continued to be small players in the market and gave business to smaller bottlers. Coke did not appreciate any competitors in the market and aggressively tried to keep out competitors through a series of lawsuits. This included knockoffs such as Coca-Cola, Cold Cola, and even Pepsi as an infringement on their trademark. The courts ruled in Pepsi's favor, but the cola wars were officially on.
The cola wars really took off when ex-Coke executive Alfred Steele became CEO of Pepsi and made "Beat Coke" their mantra, and targeted family consumption through supermarket sales. Pepsi worked with smaller bottlers and was able to help modernize their plants and sold them concentrate at about 20% less than Coke and strengthened their bottler network. In the late 1950s, Coke launched a campaign claiming it was America's preferred taste, while focusing on expanding overseas. Pepsi, on the other hand, continued to compete with Coke in the U.S. and was able to double its U.S. share from 1950 to 1970. During the 1960s, both companies experimented with other soda brands, such as Fanta, Sprite, and Tab for Coke, and Teen, Mountain Dew, and Diet Pepsi for Pepsi, expanding the overall market range for carbonated beverages.
Sure as shooting, there's a bang in every bottle of our delicious soft drink, Mountain Dew. It'll tickle your innards.
They also experimented with new packaging options and diversified into non-CSD industries like juice, coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. Pepsi became PepsiCo by merging with Frito-Lay.
In 1974, Pepsi led its biggest head-on attack on Coke, the Pepsi Challenge. They conducted blind taste tests to show that consumers actually preferred Pepsi. Coke tried to fight back with ads, price cuts, and rebates, but their market share was officially eroded.
One of the things that they did, which no one knew at the time, was they conducted their own blind taste tests, and they were horrified to find that Pepsi actually did beat Coke a little bit more than half the time in these blind taste tests. And they thought, this can't be. I mean, for a company like Coca-Cola, which has this huge pride, we are the best. You know, there's no question that Coca-Cola is superior to this upstart, this pipsqueak, Pepsi. For them to find that these blind taste tests revealed this was really shocking. And so they started to play around with the formula.
It was the first time since the turn of the century lawsuits that Coke addressed Pepsi as a competitor. Coke renegotiated its franchise bottling contracts to make more flexible like Pepsi's, and began selling them unsweetened concentrate at an increased price. They even began to use high fructose corn syrup in the early 80s to lower costs. In the 1980s, both Coke and Pepsi intensified their marketing efforts, doubling marketing spending. Coke sold off most of its non-carbonated products except for Minute Maid, and instead launched its first brand extension in 1982, Diet Coke. It was so successful, it became the most popular diet soda and the third largest selling carbonated soft drink. With this success, Coke also tried to update its regular Coke formula. Pepsi was confident that it was just mimicking their formula and did not have any reaction to the news. The public, however, did not appreciate the change, and Coke was forced to bring back Coca-Cola Classic as its flagship brand.
The intense competition between Coke and Pepsi in the 1980s meant declining sales and shelf space for other, smaller concentrate producers. Brands such as Dr. Pepper were bought and sold several times. Finally, Cadbury Schweppes emerged as the third largest concentrate producer, but it still lagged far behind the cola giants. Both Coke and Pepsi saw a need to make changes to their bottler relationships to improve margins, but each took a very different approach. Coke saw the need to refranchise their bottler networks in order to refocus on operations and get healthier margins. Pepsi decided to acquire 3 major bottling companies, but later shifted to Coke's style of franchising.
Coke and Pepsi competed with their advertising, product portfolios, and operational efforts. As a result of their rivalry, Coke and Pepsi effectively battled back and forth for market share while keeping other carbonated beverage companies at bay. Their sharp focus on the CSD market, however, caused them to miss the signs that the overall market was declining by the 1990s.
Well, starting in the late 1990s, the soft drink industry encountered new challenges. Most notably, demand for the core cola product leveled off, both in the US and worldwide. In these changing times, Coke has had a hard time adapting due to internal difficulties, execution failures, and it's clinging on to the traditional CSD model. Some of its problems in this era included losing a discrimination suit, financial fluctuations and shocks due to foreign currency fluctuations, contamination scares, massive layoffs, and various legal challenges, including allegations of channel stuffing. That means they were pressuring their bottlers to buy excess concentrate to reach their earnings targets. Unlike Coke, Pepsi flourished with its strategy of grow the core and add some more. It successfully launched Sierra Mist and Mountain Dew Code Red, while purchasing Quaker Oats, the maker of Gatorade. Financial returns tend to say it best. Pepsi's net income grew by 17.6% per year during this time, while Coke's net income only grew by 4.2%.
Easy boy.
As growth for CSDs slowed and health concerns increased, strategies changed to reflect this. One of these strategies was to focus more heavily on diet sodas. Pepsi even went as far as stating and treating Diet Pepsi as its flagship brand. But a search for alternative beverages, such as juice, sports drinks, energy drinks, and tea, really became a major quest for both Pepsi and Coke. Pepsi again was more aggressive and successful on this front. And Gatorade ended up beating Powerade, Lipton beat Nestea, and Tropicana beat Minute Maid. However, alternative drinks required very expensive new equipment to produce the drinks, complicating the production process. Coke and Pepsi also introduced new packaging and container styles, further increasing the cost for the bottlers, where their relations, especially with Coke, were already worsening and profit margins were falling. Profitability for alternative beverages have been mixed though. Energy and sports drinks retail higher, but sell for much lower volume than CSDs, and multi-packs of bottled water often retail for little more than the cost of bottling it itself. On the international stage, Coke remained dominant. 80% of Coke's profit comes from outside the US, compared to roughly 1/3 for Pepsi, an indicator of Coke's efforts abroad versus those of Pepsi. Although regulations and infrastructure provided challenges, non-US markets allowed Coke and Pepsi to expand revenue and broaden their base of innovation, such as Coke's novel network of vending machines in Japan. With this in mind, Nels, how can cola companies sustain revenues and profits?
Well, Ryan, I think there's a number of ways that both Coke and Pepsi can continue their growth and sustain revenues and profits. I think their biggest concern is going to be on continuing to grow that pie, to expand the marketplace in which they've operated for so long, and that they've done successfully up to this point, more or less. I think to do that, they're going to want to do a couple of things. First, they're going to want to continue to expand into alternative beverages. They've been successful so far in doing this, but I think that to continue that growth, they're going to have to keep introducing new products and keep the growth of their current alternative beverages on the rise. Moreover, I think that they're going to also want to continue to push their traditional CSDs abroad. There may be a few markets where they haven't fully penetrated yet and reached full saturation, so they might be able to eke out some more revenue and profit by fully, globally reaching everybody they can. And finally, I think that one way they can keep growing the pie is to creating more reasons to buy and consume the beverages. So that would come largely through creative marketing pushes to create a desire for us to have a Coke or a Pepsi at different times for different reasons and occasions. And again, that can be done, I think, through marketing campaigns. So do you think there's any chance of this happening, or are there hurdles in the way of their continued growth and profits?
I think they certainly can continue to grow profits, but there are a lot of hurdles and obstacles that they'll need to overcome. For one, it's a very mature market already. The companies, both Pepsi and Coke, have been around for 100-some years. And traditional revenue is stagnant. A lot of this, another reason that they'll have to work harder is corporate largesse. A lot of niche players are going to be able to move into different industries and different products faster than Coke or Pepsi, just due to being a little more flexible with what they can do. There's also a lot of growing health concerns about sugary beverages. And so with parents watching what kids are drinking more, along with the size of the packages and the cans and bottles, that's going to be another obstacle for them to overcome. They also need to worry about the multitude of competitors that are springing up, both organic and juice makers, along with energy drinks. There's a lot of competition that is going to be a little more flexible and a little quicker to market than they've been lately. And last, Pepsi and Coke really need to worry about where they're going to focus their brand and capital. If they go into a market or try to push a certain brand and it fails, that could really set them back. And so they really need to worry about where they're focusing their strategy at this point in time.
I would agree with those points. So it sounds like Coke and Pepsi have some challenges in front of them, as well as some opportunities to continue their success. But only time will tell how they actually do. For now, let's enjoy a nice cold cola.